Okay, here we are. That depressing day's finally arrived. Sunday, October the 28th, 2012, and the clocks have gone back, meaning much reduced walks henceforth till around the end of March. So, depressing day, but as a consequence I shall tidy up shorter walks that I've yet to do in book 1 and book 2. In fact, there's only one left in book 2, I believe, but this is one of the book 1 walks that I've yet to do, quite close to London. I'm down in Kent today, on this rather grey day. Quite good walking weather though, nice and chill. Rain is forecast later though, as the temperature rises, so it's going to be hit and miss whether I complete all the filming of this walk, but we'll see. So this is book 1, walk 50, Yalding in Kent to Borough Green, around 10.5 miles. So you can see significantly reduced from the 16 I did last week, by a third actually. So yeah, depressing really. Just about get warmed up at 10 miles, so my health suffers during the winter because I'm not getting the distance in. Very sad. Anyway, enough about me, let's press on, see what the walk holds. It's now around about 11:15 GMT and it's about, as I say, 10.5 miles to do, so let's get cracking. And as I speak, the sun's just poked its head out, so that bodes well. This is one of those split stations on the Medway Valley line, I think it's called. Okay, 120 metres on, and I realise this is familiar territory. I have walked this before, can't remember which walk, but this is just before the railway, just before the river bridge. Turn left here, follow the left bank of the river. Our onward journey is straight ahead here. Looking back at the lock. Now the nice thing about today's walk is that the author has numbered the various paragraphs, which makes referencing the various scenes a lot easier, and also referring to any alterations that I come across. The walks in Essex weren't numbered, with reams of text, hence it's a lot harder to commentate on. So 120 metres further on, footpath splits and we move away from the river, turning left here, as I did on the previous walk I believe. Crossing the railway line just outside Yalding. Scenery on the other side of the railway line, having come out across the into the large field. Quite a stiff, chill breeze today, but as I say, that's likely to change around lunchtime. The first of what I guess will be many hosts that we see today. Usually converted into residential properties now. Okay, exiting out into a field, having just come past cottage number 1, the white cottage. Footpath there is not clearly marked, so pay attention there. You come out into this very muddy former rape field with some interesting views as we ascend. information board here about the environment and farming. Path becomes less muddy at this point. As last week, some interesting hoof or clove prints here. Probably a deer, because this field is surrounded by wood. Once again, a very muddy footpath this. Plenty of autumn colours now that we're well into autumn. Only 6 weeks to go and it's midwinter. A further view back across said muddy field. As you can see, well wooded all round, hence the deer. Onward journey here into the wood, where at least it'll be less muddy. In Moat Wood here, we're following a relatively newly erected deer fence, so that confirms my earlier suspicion. Turn sharp left here, as mentioned in the text. Continuing to follow the deer fence and shortly entering a pine forest. Look forward to that fresh aroma. So here we are in the gloom of this pine forest with its lovely aroma and the sound of gold crests and various tits in the background, and of course the omnipresent Gatwick Airport. Point 5 of the text refers to a dried up in summer tiny stream. Well, there's some water in it at the moment, as you'd imagine by the mud on the footpaths. New style in point 5 to exit the wood can be bypassed now since the text was written. Next to the fence there's a gap. Point 6 of the text, I'm just starting to feel some spots of rain, so I didn't get very far. Point 7 of the text views back from the fringes of Roydon Hall, just coming off the road, going along the grass verge. Lovely chestnut there. Terrible news about the ash. Looks like we're in for another Dutch elm type deforestation policy. Absolute nightmare. The ash apparently is our third most populous tree, so to see all those affected and removed would be a major loss to our countryside. Presently in Suffolk, who knows how long it will take to get in here and the rest of the country. What a prospect. Terrible. GSW symbol, our onward journey through the wood here. There's a common sight at this time of year, the old mistletoe. Looks like there's nice big bunches around this year as well, good season for it. We've had to import from France in recent years because of the shortages, so whatever weather we've had this summer seems to appeal to the mistletoe. The former Maharishi's Roydon Hall, Centre for Transcendental Meditation, as you can see, now under refurbishment by the new owners. Opposite the main gates to Roydon Hall and its lodge, our onward journey is as it was the previous time I walked out of Yalding, across this field. I hope I haven't walked this walk before. Very similar to the other Yalding walk thus far. Maybe it changes soon, but I'm doing this one because I don't believe I've filmed it. Certainly not according to the website. Another shot of some great autumn colours over there. As we continue on, following the Greensand Way. Walking up the right side of the field towards St Michael's Church on the brow there. Views from the marker post, point 8 of the text where we veer left. There you go, path clearly visible. Information panel there about St Michael's, East Peckham. And the rather pleasant view from its main entrance towards the Lich Gate and beyond. About 80 metres up here. Church is no longer used for regular worship, but it's preserved by the Consecration Trust, as you could have read on that panel a few minutes ago. Very pleasant, peaceful position for the occupants here. Not quite as peaceful as last week's one, though, in the wood. Here we are, it's Old Church Lane. Continue with the Greensand Way over there. On down the lane there with the dead end sign. The lane continues on down to the busy A428. Our onward journeys here by this footpath marker along the edge of the wood, with typical Kentish views out on the left. Mainly market gardening by the looks of it. Of the text, and what would ordinarily be a very muddy field per the text is not today, thank God. Pleasantly the farmer has left the stubble of the corn there, and it shouldn't be too difficult. Mereworth Church over there on the left, which is potentially my lunchtime stop, I believe. Another shot of Mereworth. As the mewing of a buzzard can be heard. That's the crows that is scared off. Or are they having a battle with a buzzard? It's usually what happens. Can't see the buzzard at the moment though. But he is about, because I can hear him or her. I referred to the shortage of chestnuts and conkers last week. There's certainly no shortage of sweet chestnuts around, so another alternative. I suppose it just depends on the kind of chestnut tree, although there's certainly evidence of leaf miner here. Maybe the miner beetle is choosy on the type of chestnut it eats. So looking back at point 11 in the text, the car-wide earth track referred to in the text has now become a greenway, a green field boundary. Point 11, busy A428. You have to walk along the verge there over the road bridge. Entering the village of Mereworth. Just going up the street towards St Michael's Church. Butcher's Lane here leads up to the suggested lunchtime stop, the pub, the Queen's Head. But as I tend not to frequent those places, and that would add another K to the walk, I'm going to go straight to the church here, find my lunchtime respite, and perhaps film the beaches, which is another lunchtime alternative, which is on my onward journey anyway. Right, here we have St Michael's, a neoclassical church, which is why it's so unusually continental looking, I reckon. And despite what the clock says up there, as usual at this time of year when we change them, it's wrong. It's 12:30 at the minute, so just in time for lunch. Some very unusual features in an English church. Glad I've picked this one for my lunch today. Self-explanatory. The main entrance. It's like a house entrance as well as opposed to the church. Amazing. Just stood next to this memorial to those that died in the Great War. Very appropriate this time of year as we approach Poppy Day. Can't really read what's written on there, but might be able to do so when I get back. Yep, it's just very un-English. Neoclassical, eh? Google it for further details. Even the church seats are different. This one being dedicated by Roger Hawley, I think that is. (1953 to 2005), so not a very old man. Yeah, I think I'll take this one for my lunch. Okay, just gone 1 o'clock, lunch has been had. And whilst having lunch I noticed that this church It's one of the few churches I've ever seen with a chimney at the back there. Very interesting. Just by the former Torrington Arms pub here, which is now a private residence called Torrington House, we do a right up this tarmac lane, looking back at the church and Mereworth from a point where the narrow footpath splits. Our onward journey is this way, not that way, northwards. Now on the car wide earth track, amongst classical Kentish scenery, market gardening. That's our onward journey that way. Let's go and have a look and see what that notice board says. It's telling us about Barham's Place Farm, which is predominantly a strawberry and soft fruit growing farm by all accounts. And here we have strawberry plants growing. Pretty cold time of year for strawberries to be out. Well, there you go. Just walking to the left on the tarmac lane beside Libbett's Cottage. I won't get a chance to film Beach's restaurant because that's off up the busy B road behind me, so I'll continue on. A bit confusing here. Is this yellow and black marker pointing that way or here through the wood? Pays your money and takes your choice. Now on the boardwalked section, but that little path just behind me, and I did take the right one, slightly to the left of the gate, is a bit of a quagmire as well. Could do the boardwalk there, to be honest. Since the text was written, the metal field gate is now to my left and not blocking the forward route, so you don't have to clamber over that or open it. They come out to these farm buildings here and go immediately right up this farm track, 320 degrees. Point 16 of the text. And the metal field gates referred to in the text here are no longer visible really. Take that footpath over there, 350 degrees, point 17 of the text. It's a rather pleasant greenway. Little stream on my left, per 17.17 of the text. Point 18 of the text. Further evidence of the local economy down here. Still grey at the moment, but no more drops of rain since I last mentioned it, thank God. Fingers crossed. Point 18 of the text. Come out opposite this rather large pond next to Yew Tree Cottage. As I continue on this lane, and then with the pond on the right we continue up this earthen track next to the pond. 19. The views having exited the private garden with the Hurst Wood, I believe, ahead of us. Got quite a bit of woodland walking ahead of us now, so that's good. And as I speak, the temperature is starting to rise, I feel, just as forecast. Point 19 of the text, I didn't come across the metal field gate referred to prior to this avenue of redwoods, but clearly this is the small avenue of redwoods referred to in the text. There's someone chopping up trees behind me on a Sunday, believe it or not. But there you go, needs must in the winter. Probably gathering winter fuel, as the carol goes. Now we're away from the saw cutter, the tree cutter, sorry. Very pleasant here in Mereworth Woods. Nice and tranquil. Not a sound. Lovely. Just meeting the bridle way. We continue straight on. Okay, reach a T-junction here, where we go that way, turn left, as opposed to that way. Point 21 of the text. Turn sharp right here, as indicated by that footpath marker over there, or bridleway even. Should be muddy then, or muddier even than what it is. Thankfully though, the leaf fall is keeping the footpath manageable. Seems to have come down all of a sudden since the evening started getting colder. Certainly are some watery sections though, whereby you need to skirt into the woods, just a little bit off the beaten track to avoid. Okay, now reach the earthen track referred to in point 22 of this text, having just come from there. Our onward journey is right, up that way. A junction here, and our onward journey, as you'd imagine, is through that muddiest path over there, following the Wealdway. So it's the middle of these three options. Lovely and quiet in here, delightful. I've only seen about 3 other walkers today. Fantastic. Interesting thing about this section of walking on the Wealdway through Mereworth Woods is that this is probably the highest point of the walking today, even though that's not currently obvious. About 160 metres here. Might get an opportunity to see that in a second when we get into that clearing ahead. At another muddy junction, you've got 3 options: slightly left, slightly half right, and right. Next to this clearance, we can continue with the Wealdway, slightly left. And unfortunately, I was hoping for a bit of a view from up here, but we're still not getting it. Clearly all this forest clearance would explain the churned up tracks. 25 of the text. Continue straight on with the Wealdway. Certainly a lot of clearance work going on here. This could be a sign of the times if that ash disease gets a grip. How worrying. As I say, I do remember the Dutch elm blight back in the 70s. So sad. New addition here to our collection of footpath markers. This one being a green tree with a W in it and the letter D on it. Great number of jays around today. Predominantly the bird I've heard most. Another rather large toadstool here. Well, it could be a mushroom, I'm unsure. Wouldn't have thought so though. Descending downwards now towards the road, still get a sense of the height that we were at though. Okay, so after 800 metres you exit here on the Wealdway and then immediately turn left again by this bridleway marker up this little lane here. Point 27 of the text, and I'm not sure I've walked such a muddy walk for a long time. Mind you, most of the walks in the summer were bone dry, weren't they? So I guess would be a while. Point 27, believe it or not, there's a bridleway sign hidden in that hedge there somewhere. As we turn left, walking uphill. Rather pleasant now. Wind's dropped, temperatures increased a bit. Sun's starting to poke out. Entering the hamlet of Crouch. Not too keen on cutting back their shrubbery hedgerows to allow road signs and what have you to be seen, are they here? Okay, the driveway to Scott's Hole Cottage, just over there. This is the entrance we want though. Point 28 of the text. Onward journey down there. 29 of the text. Leaving the woods behind me and the rather pleasant valley. Now come out onto the housing estate mentioned in the text. This path I've just left behind me is a rather slippery and muddy one again. About 3:15 for the timekeepers amongst you. Plenty of time. The small waterfall referred to in point 29 of the text. This is a place called, yeah, excuse me dog, I'm trying to talk. Yeah, this is a place called Basted. We do a right here, as indicated by that marker over there. I'll pass in the lake referred to in point 30 of the text. Plenty of autumn colours backdropping this lake. Now, the interesting thing about this particular little village or hamlet is that most of the houses seem to be quite modern. So I don't know how that's happened. Coot here, gone. Back up. Little viewing platform here with some details about the residents, who are clearly used to getting fed, as they're all zooming in as I'm stood on it. Yeah, something funny about this place, almost as if it's entirely man-made. In fact, if I remember correctly, Borough Green is an entirely man-made place. I remember my geography teacher telling me that, because he was on the project to do it. Well, well, well. Certainly an air of man-madeness about this place. And there's a warning about the blue-green algae, poisonous. Information board about Basted Mill woodland walks. Point 31 of the text, the former unmarked path referred to is now marked. Point 33 of the text, having ascended quite steeply to this point, there was no orchard on the left as written in the text. In fact, the fence seems to have been erected since the text was written, and whoever updated the walk hasn't updated that bit. But yeah, it is the footpath that I filmed that's the correct one, as you go over a little concrete bridge. There would be good views from up here if we could see through this trees. Well, in fact, in a few weeks' time you will be able to see through the trees, so good luck to you. Passing some kind of youth enhancement centre here, run by Russet, which is an appropriate name for the time of year and all the autumn colours around. Petrol pump here from times gone by, still indicating the old gallons. And I remember when the price of a gallon was the same as a litre now. Outrageous. Church of the Good Shepherd, Borough Green, which again is not your typical church. Not as attractive as my lunchtime stop, but nevertheless a modern church. These are the operating hours of the fish and chip shop referred to in the text. Closed Sunday, Monday. There is, however, a Nissa local very close to the station that is open on a Sunday. 4 o'clock, walk's done, just crossing over the railway line that's going to take me back. This is the recommended tea stop. They're all jumping on the Shades of Grey bandwagon, I see. Now the name of a group. The Henry Simmons. Google him for more information. Probably got the football on in there at the minute. Seeing as I've got half an hour to wait for my train, I am tempted, but I won't. And interestingly, down by the station, we also have a co-op for the journey home. Replenish my supplies, perhaps. Certainly does coffees. So as I say, 4 o'clock, that walk's taken me exactly as indicated in the text, 5 hours, 10.5 miles. Not particularly fast paced, but got to allow for the mud. It's a quagmire out there. A great walk if you're a pig or any other creature that likes the mud. Definitely one for the hippos. Very pleasant walk though, lots of variety for a short walk. As you can see, we're in the gloom now, albeit that it's only 4. It's going to be this way now, rather depressingly for the next few months. The only thing that might cheer me up today is a draw at Stamford Bridge. So, Saturday Walkers Club, book 1, walk 50, walk completed. Very pleasant it was, albeit that it's very muddy in places after rain, which we've had this week. So yeah, another one of the book 1 walks completed. I didn't encounter any problems with the directions or anything else in the text, so well written by the author. And as I've remarked before, numbers do help when commentating on the text. Well done to the author.